All right, let's jump right in. Today we're looking at a system of language with a claim so bold it sounds like science fiction. What if you could use grammar, with mathematical precision, to communicate pure, undeniable fact? Well, it's called quantum grammar, and it pretty much challenges everything we think we know about how words work.
Okay, so take a look at this. This is a sentence written in quantum grammar. It feels weird, doesn't it? Kind of clunky, almost backwards. You see words like with and of, where you just don't expect them. But here's the thing, that's not a mistake. That's the system doing its job. And that strange feeling you're getting, that's the first clue to how this whole thing operates.
So you might be asking, why would anyone write like that? Well, it's a really radical attempt to solve one of the biggest problems we have as humans, misunderstanding. Just think about it for a second. Imagine a language where there's no room for interpretation. No double meanings. No, oh, what I meant to say was. The goal here isn't just to be clear, it's to actually build a language made of pure, mathematically verifiable fact.
So how in the world does it actually work? Well, the main engine behind it is a concept we can call syntactic mirroring. The best way to think of it is like a logical spell check, but it's built right into the grammar of every single sentence.
And here is that mirror in action. Look at the sentence on the left. Now, look at the one on the right. It's basically the same sentence, just read backwards. Now, you'll notice the important words, the nouns like claimant and performance, and the verb is, they haven't moved at all. But all those little connective words, the ofs, the withs, the bys, they've all been shuffled around. And yet the meaning is exactly the same. That right there, that's the test.
Now, according to the people who use this is way more than just a cool party trick. It's a self-correcting mechanism. The idea is, if a sentence makes perfect sense and stays logical when you read it forwards and backwards, if it passes this mirror test, then the statement it makes is basically certified as mathematically correct. It's not just a claim anymore.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. It really gets to the core philosophy of this whole thing. It's a full-on assault against misinterpretation. The ultimate goal is to create a way of communicating that's so precise, so structurally sound, that misunderstanding becomes, at least in theory, syntactically impossible. All right, so we've got the core principle down. Now let's dig into the specific rules that make it all possible. Because this isn't just about shuffling words around that we already know. Oh no. It's about fundamentally changing the very building blocks of the language itself.
The first rule is a big one, and it's probably the most radical. You have to completely eliminate time. There's no was, there's no will be. Every single statement has to be built in what they call the now time. So, for example, you couldn't say the ball was red. You'd have to construct a sentence that says something like, the fact of the ball's redness is now. The whole reason for this is to lock every statement into what the system calls an absolute finite meaning.
And it gets even deeper. To get this level of precision, the words themselves have to be changed. Each word is only allowed to have one single, specific dictionary meaning. So you can't have run for jogging and run for a tear in your stocking. Nope. Prefixes? Banned. Suffixes that mess with time, like ed or ing? Also gone. Every single word becomes a fixed, solid, unchanging unit.
So, let's recap. We have a language with no past or future, modified words, and this really bizarre forwards-backwards structure. You gotta wonder, why go to all this trouble? Well, the stated goal is absolutely massive. It's to transform the very nature of what a statement even is.
So the process is laid out like a three-step journey. First, you apply the correct sentence structure. Then you make sure it has that perfect forwards-backwards syntax we talked about. And the result, according to the system, isn't just a sentence anymore. You've created what's called a LODIAL fact phrase. And that's basically a statement that has been mathematically proven to be correct by its own internal structure. And this is where the claims get truly wild. The entire point of this whole system is to take a statement and lift it up from being just an opinion to being a law of logic. It's not an argument you can debate anymore. The claim is that a sentence written correctly in this grammar becomes an undeniable fact, a fact so mathematically solid, its proponents argue, that it's actually beyond the jurisdiction of a court of law. But hold on, there's one last, really fascinating layer to all this, and it has to do with who, or maybe what, can actually use this grammar in the first place.
And here's a pretty interesting twist, right? Especially now in the age of AI. The source material is completely adamant that this is a uniquely human skill. The claim is that an AI, because it just runs on predictive algorithms, can't perform the kind of exact thinking or
conscious verification that this grammar demands. It's basically a system that's designed to be totally impenetrable to machines. You know, this leads to another core idea. You can't just passively learn this stuff from a book. It has to be actively performed. You can't just read the rulebook and get it. The system has to be learned and applied firsthand, because the knowledge of it and the performance of it are one and the same. As they say, to know it is to do it.
So we're left with this really mind-bending question. I mean, we usually think of language as a tool that we use to describe reality, right? But what if a system of grammar, if it were made mathematically perfect, could actually define reality? Is it really possible for a set of rules about sentence structure to turn a simple claim into an irrefutable fact? The very idea challenges the line between language and logic itself.